So who does Octavia love more?
That's a good question. That's a good question. But blood's thicker than water. Come on.
Sure.
Is she forced to choose? Is she
Between her
forced to
brother
choose
and
anytime
boy-
soon?
Oh, you're good straight in there.
Yeah.
No messing around.
I don't know.
Is she
I
forced to
feel
choose?
like you hurt the people you love the most, so she hurts me a lot.
And she hurts me too.
Yeah, she hurt you big time.
Yeah.
For Bellamy, there was such a struggle for control between him and Clark. They started to work things out, and now you've got this whole other contingent of the adult characters coming down. What's that like for him?
I think for Bellamy, it's a massive change. He's really, I mean, for the first 3 episodes you guys have seen, he kind of is trying to taking a back seat from that leadership role. I think he's finding it very hard. There's a lot of restraint he has to show. But it's a huge change from the way it was in the first season, where he would, act before thinking, whereas now he just does a lot of thinking.
There's a lot of growth.
Yeah.
There's a lot of growth.
Thinking. Yeah.
He's grown a lot.
Yeah.
Lincoln sort of turned his back on his own people to help Octavia and her people, but now Octavia is making alliances with them. Do we get some indication of how Lincoln might feel about that? Is he conflicted?
I think that's the great thing about the writers on the show is that they make everything, kind of like a grey area. Nothing's black and white, and so, he's very conflicted. He always has been. He's obviously got this moral compass, and he believes in right and wrong. And for some reason, he always seems to get punished for it. In the first season, he wanted this kind of peace, and that's going to continue. He's a peaceful chap, and just wants everyone to get along and hold hands and be nice. But there's going to be various things, and I said it last year that the writers are very good at giving the audience what they need and not what they want. And so obviously everyone wants peace, and so the writers are very clever, and they're going to just find different ways of kind of teasing it and pulling everyone apart. And I think the big thing this year is last year I think everyone suffered physically. There was a lot of physical darkness going on. This year I think it's going to be very much more mental. The darkness is going to take place, and within a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of monsters coming out from the inside rather than actually seeing these monsters.
On that point, I feel like last year was a lot about survival and the cost of what it takes to survive, whereas I feel like this season is the cost of peace and how much that takes its toll and how much hard work peace is. So I feel like this year that's probably what we're pushing towards more as opposed to survival. So yeah.
Your characters have a lot of history from the first season. What sort of interaction do they have in the second season? Is there a lot of tension between them?
Well, I mean, where we left at the end of the first season, I think it was pretty amicable.
Yeah, obviously there was a long journey.
Trusted him to look after my sister.
We had to develop that trust, and he was very against the grounders and everything grounder, and I think he saw a light in Lincoln, and that maybe they aren't all so bad.
Yeah.
Or at least he isn't.
Yeah.
He saw how much he cared for his sister, and was able to trust in that enough to set her free. I guess that old phrase, if you love someone enough, you set them free, and then he sent her off with Lincoln. So at the beginning of season 1, we're actually separated, and we're not really together. So you're not actually going to see much of us together. I'm off with Octavia out in the wilderness, obviously, trying to keep her safe. And it's just, again, it's creating that that tension, that urge to get back together. It'd be nice and great if everyone was together, but that's what everyone wants. So we're going to try and build that tension by keeping everyone apart and just creating that kind of urgency to try and find everyone again. And because that's when everyone's safe. When everyone's together, and you're strengthening numbers.
Yeah, in terms of there's not many friendships in this thing. There's not a lot of fun times. I mean, we did go to that cafe and have a latte.
Yeah.
No,
it was lovely. Yeah. He bought me a croissant.
Yeah. He looked famished. But there's never, there hasn't been many opportunities for people to actually form friendships. It's more like you're banded together, and it's about trusting someone as opposed to actually enjoying someone's company, because that rarely happens on this show.
What problems does Kane present for Bellamy?
Well, I mean, Kane, I think, is the epitome of, Ian's hilarious to work with, but Kane is the epitome of the adults, and he kind of represents all of those people. So the arc and the adults just kind of are that for lack of a better term, kind of like the castration of Bellamy, you know? It's like, yeah, he's just disempowered and he doesn't have the mob anymore. I think the 100 were a big part of Bellamy's power, and now the mob, he's without them, so he's kind of lost out there.
It's how, where does Bellamy fit in now? He was this leader, this person that everyone looked to, and technically he knows so much more than Kane. You know, Kane is obviously wise and older and experienced, but he doesn't know Earth like Bellamy knows Earth, and that's seriously frustrating for someone so strong as Bellamy, who is like, look, yeah, you were the leader on the Ark, but you don't know about Joby nuts that cause illusions. You don't know about crazy fog. He hasn't experienced the the perils of Earth that these guys have, and so it literally is a castration. And there's nothing he can do about it right now.
And it is that the power of the mob, and Bellamy doesn't have his mob anymore. He doesn't have his followers, so it's very hard to motivate a whole heap of people who have no idea who you are and don't trust you in the beginning. So, yeah, that's the biggest problem I think for Bellamy.